Go ahead and do it, Greg.
Hello, and welcome into a Monday edition of the Computer America Show, a little preview version as we have on our live video streaming page if you're watching us. And yes, it is the beginning. We begin our 24th year on the air here on Computer America, 24 years doing the show. And so, and on this first program, we're going to have EZRobot joining us, the founder and CEO of EZRobot. Is going to be here with us. And then
until showtime.
Thank you. And then in hour two, Ben and I are going to do not computer and technology news, but we're going to be doing a DIY because February is Do-It-Yourself Month, and that's brought to you by Slimmer Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. So sit back, relax, and join the show, and we'll be starting momentarily.
What he said.
It won't let me edit. And to take that, it won't let me edit. I just tried. So if you could take that out of other places. 10 seconds. Under host, you have after 19.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Monday!
Yeah! It works, it works. We're going to say it works.
Yes, absolutely. But you know, actually we do have a big announcement tonight. If you got our weekly email newsletter, the show reminder, you know what it is. But today marks the 24th year of Computer America being on the air. 24 years, folks, and going strong.
One more, we get those lower car insurance rates, and we can rent sports cars. So
it's a package deal. We got exactly. 24 years on. What were you doing 24 years ago, Ben? My God.
I was just barely existing. I was 1 month old. I was putting on weight like crazy. So, you know, focusing on getting the bones in my head solidified. Other than that, though, not much.
Yeah. Well, at least you weren't an egg. You were post egg.
I was very egg shaped though. Continue to be, but yes, you know, it's. I was not on this particular radio show at 1 month old. 24 years is a long time, especially in this area. I guess Computer America is well deserving of the title longest running. So.
Yes, longest running nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers.
Yep.
It's hard.
24 years. Crazy.
Yep. 24 years. There you go. So, and we're so glad that you can join us tonight here on the beginning of our 24th year. I don't want to rush it. 24th year on the air. As I mentioned, we have a terrific show planned for you. In the second hour, we're going to usually do computer and technology news. We're going to kind of branch away a little bit from that. We're going to try something new. February is kind of do-it-yourself month, right? A DIY month. And so we're going to focus on do-it-yourself projects and things having to do with computers, and we're going to.
DIY is mainly going to focus on this month in the second hour. That doesn't mean we will never do news. It's just that we're going to, each night we do have a segment devoted to news. We'll also have a segment to go along with it called DIY that will do things like how to better utilize your browser, or how to set up hardware, how to use a VPN, just how-tos and DIY things that you can do that maybe you weren't clear about or need a refresher on, or that kind of thing. We'll have those set up in the second hour just to refresh your memory because, as you said, February, DIY.
All right, there you go. And of course, the news and the DIY is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. So there you go. Any other changes we want to mention, Ben, that our listeners need to know before we get
No,
started?
we're still trying to weed out the website of all the 23s and change them to 24s. But other than that, no. It's we've had a lot of changes over the past year with the new website, the new mailing list, or the new mailer, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of new networks that we like to welcome on, and a lot of new advertisers, but 24 hopefully going on 48.
There you go. Okay. All right. Well, that said, then why don't we introduce our guest for this hour? And if you're into robotics, you're really going to like this. Our guest this hour is from a company called EZRobot. And I guess the emphasis is on the first two letters, E and Z. Easy, because EZRobot makes robots easy. I mean, until now, robotics have been complicated, technical machines, but EZRobot has successfully changed the robotics game into something simple and functional. There's no limit to your creativity at home or in the classroom. I remember when I was in the classroom, I used a virtual robot because there was like a little turtle robot, and it was a programming language that you can kind of program. But anyway, I digress. The EZRobot revolution is empowered you to change the world. I mean, do you have a dream of what the future holds for robotics? Go wild, customize, invent something new. EZRobot can provide the tools to make your vision a reality. Now, joining us is the CEO of EZRobot, DJ Shures. DJ, welcome into Computer America, sir. How are you?
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. And this is the first I heard. It was the 24th anniversary of Computer America, so I'm honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Our pleasure, and we're glad to have you here.
Very, very few things, to be honest. Very few things kind of show off technology and how far technology has come. Because I'm sure if you go back to our first show of Computer America, Craig must have been talking about 10-inch floppies or something like that. Something archaic, and how to feed your computer handwritten instructions. But nowadays, I'm happy that our 24th anniversary is celebrated with how you can start building robots by yourself.
Yeah,
that's right. And it's really interesting too. I just wanted to say is that the computer industry has obviously been a huge influence in robotics and how other robot companies like ourselves are participating in the industry. So we're actually looking at the computer industry and modeling our business after them.
Well, why don't you tell us, our listeners, a little bit about what EZRobot is, okay?
Sure. Yeah. So you know what? I don't know if I could do much better than how your intro was. EZRobot. So really quickly, EZRobot is a platform. We're a platform play. We allow people to be able to build robots without ever having to understand a great deal about robots. And the metaphor I use often is a carpenter doesn't go into the bush, cut down a tree, and plane wood into 2x4s to build a house. A carpenter buys a house that, a kit that's already 2x4s, or hires a company to do it for you. So in a sense, if you're working with robotics, we feel people should be learning and executing the same way. So they should be purchasing parts that are robot-like, and they should just clip together and start working. Allow people to build robots.
Wow. Okay. So it's almost like a robot kit.
That's right.
What you're saying.
It's a robot kit that's beyond robot kit. So robot kits generally today have this kind of a little cloud that floats over top of all the word robot kits, where people think, oh God, I have to solder, I have to program, I have to build. And with what we're doing is saying, no, just go to sleep and dream up something. When you wake up, make it happen. It just clips together.
All right, so no soldering gun required, no capacitors or resistors or none of that stuff.
Yeah, be careful. Don't use any of those scary words, because we don't. We definitely don't.
Oh, you're telling me you're hesitant to hand an 8-year-old a soldering iron. Why? Well, why?
Because we have the burn marks. We have the burn marks and scars.
Well, are you sort of like following in the footsteps of let's say Legos or Lincoln Logs, of the past, where
See, everything connects.
Connect.
connects. So it's actually kind of funny. So I'm full of metaphors. I have lots of quotes. I have everything, and it comes because that's what I do every day. I spend all my time spending ways to relate what we're doing to everything else. And the most recent quote that I've been quoting is from Henry Ford, and it's, "We're not building a faster horse." And what that means is we didn't look at all the other robot products out there and try to copy them or make our product better. We looked at what everyone else was doing and said, and we wiped it off the table with a brand new clean slate. We started from scratch. We said, if robots were to begin today and people were to build robots with a platform today, what would that platform look like? So we didn't start with a Lego. We didn't start with a Vex or any other products that are out there. We said, let's allow people to build robots because they get inspired from movies. I mean, Johnny Five, Short Circuit, Lost in Space, right? All these robots. We want people to build robots just like that.
There's another really movie coming out in the next month or two about a robot. It was from the guy with the Deep District 9. Ben, you know it? It's a robot.
Oh, Chappie.
Chappie, yeah, exactly, Chappie.
Yeah.
The robot movie.
Exactly, and we get excited when new movies come out. Like my most recent movie I'm inspired from is Big Hero 6.
Yeah, Big Hero 6.
Yeah,
Well,
I fell asleep at the end. I have to admit that it did. It did get a little cheesy, but
have you seen the previews for Chappie? I mean,
oh, for sure. Everyone at our office is really excited. We have movie nights.
Wow.
We have this 110-inch HD TV on the wall at one of the ends of EZRobot, and we have movie nights, and we watch ridiculously nerdy movies. I mean, we are the biggest nerds you'll ever meet.
Well, tell us a little bit what's inspired you to start EZRobot. I think you kind of started getting into it, but where'd the inspiration come from?
The inspiration's funny. It actually started from, believe it or not, my grandfather, who is the most untechnical person in the world. I mean, this guy, all his clocks flash 12. The entire house, right? He was the kind of guy that would, ruin. He wouldn't watch half the show because he's trying to figure out how to hit the record button on the VCR when I was younger. So one day I was working on this robot, and I had gained a bunch of publicity. It was a Wall-E robot, and any of the listeners may recall it was in Wired magazine and Make magazine. It was all over the place, and it got CTV. It was on the news, and I got featured for building this Wall-E robot after the movie, and it could talk and dance and stuff. And I got a bunch of media from it. And people were emailing me saying, can I build my own robot? Well, of course, I didn't even know where to begin. So I was working on another robot, and my grandfather was sitting across from me, and he looked over and he said, can you teach me how to build one of those? That's my grandfather voice, by the way. I said, no, I mean, it's all these disciplines involved, programming, etc. So he leaned forward in his wise voice, his wide old man voice, and he said, tell you what, if you could teach everyone to build a robot, you're going to have more than just one, you're going to have 1 million. And I said, I'm going to set out to build 1 million robots. Yeah. So hence came EZRobot.
That's wise words.
Exactly.
It was.
So you
Very much so.
You have him to thank for all this.
I do, most definitely. So, he was... he unfortunately has passed away, but the company's been around for 3 years, and he passed away last year. And it was a really exciting time for him to watch the company grow from my basement, where it was myself, to 2 staff, to 3, to 4, to 5, to 6, 7, 8, to 9, to 10, and then eventually move out of my house because there wasn't enough room, into our own space, and then setting up satellite offices, and now we have a corporation, and it's quite amazing to watch the growth of the company.
It's nice to know that at least he got to see you start it, which is really good.
That's right. That's right, yep. And he goes down in history because I keep telling the story every chance I get.
So why don't you tell us what makes EZRobots different? What do EZRobots do?
Well, that's a great question. And EZRobots, well, I'll say it like this in a quick summary. When you watch a movie and a robot does something, we want your EZRobot to do the same stuff. So that means you can talk to it. That means you can teach it visual objects. Like you can hold up a Coca-Cola can, and you can hold it in front of the robot and teach it that. You can hold up, a business card and have the robot understand it and then follow it. We have the ability for people to even drag and drop without even touching the keyboard, drag and drop and create your own mobile apps that run on your phone. And all of these features are inspired by our community. So people who buy the robot come onto our forum, and they may not know anything about programming, but they say, I want my robot to do this. And then we look at their post and we say, that's a good idea. And we add those features. So we're crowdsourcing ideas, and we're crowdsourcing features.
So that is very interesting. So I guess the next question is really how easy are they to actually use in the program?
Very. So if you think of back in the day when you're in school and you would doodle on each page of a textbook, and then you'd flip through that textbook, and your little animation doodle would start dancing around and moving. Do you remember doing that flip book?
Yes. Sure.
Okay. So for a lot of robotics, one of the biggest challenges is making a robot move. How do you get it to stand up, walk around like a humanoid, etc.? And it's quite a challenge, quite a feat, a lot of math involved. However, if you could somehow teach the robot different positions, like a frame by frame by frame, on how to walk or how to get up, then suddenly you have the ability to execute these frames to make the robot walk, etc. So we created this model where you literally just posture the robot, pose it into different frames and different positions, and it saves it, and then you can play them back, and you can relate those frames to different actions. You can say, when I see the dog or I see the cat, squirt, pull the trigger on a squirt gun and squirt the dog or squirt the cat. So we have some really interesting people doing some really interesting things with these features.
So you're going for more of a I would say a graphical user interface, but I mean at this point it's just pictures and poses and things like that. So that's how you're getting around the whole coding thing, because coding, let's face it, if you aren't really up for experimentation, coding takes a long time to learn and is quite complicated on itself. So to get around that, you're just you have obviously the coding on the back end, but you're simplifying. Instead of saying what the code actually means, you're showing it in a picture and people can program it like that.
We're the Macintosh of robotics.
Very nice.
So basically, you're making it easy for people to instruct the robot but without having to know a programming language. Is that
That's
the idea?
right. That's right. So no programming language. And the concept is to inspire people to participate in the robot industry. So right now, if you were to sit back and do a Google search or buy some magazines and check out what's going on in robotics, you'll find there's a few large corporations, Google, etc., that are pretty much not dominating the market for robotics, but they're definitely leading where the robot industry is going. And it's not leaving much room for average people. Now, this is a computer radio show, so we're going to talk really nerdy for a second about what allowed the computer to be what it is today. And it was a program called VisiCalc, written in BASIC, right? So there's a bunch of these steps and stages that came to be to allow VisiCalc to be created to make a computer useful. So we've created the computer, which is the platform. We created the software, which is equivalent to BASIC, but it's in graphical. And we're allowing our customers to make apps. And out of our product, somebody is going to make a VisiCalc. So one of our customers is going to make amazing robotics that you're going to see in your everyday life.
Well, you mentioned all these different customers. Is there a community around EZRobot that's doing all of this?
Sure is. I should probably say, since we're on the radio, nobody can maybe not see the video that we have going. And this is a hint for all you radio listeners. Get on the webpage and you can watch us live, because we're going to turn a robot on in a second. It's www.ez-robot.com, and we have 25,000 community members at the moment.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
That's a lot.
And those community members, I'm assuming it's not just a Sunday picnic, that kind of thing. These community members do everything from what to what?
Oh, we have a 3D printing network where if you don't have a 3D printer, you can ask one of our community members to 3D print something for you. We have people who are super experienced in programming. They'll help you actually resolve any programming issues you're having. We also have this model where we pay our customers to help our customers, and we pay you in easy bucks, which you could spend in our store to buy more robot parts.
That's very, very cute. By the way, if you have a comment or a question for our guest tonight, DJ Shore is the CEO of EZRobot. You can give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. Email is live, live at computeramerica.com. You can also join us in a live interactive chat room from our homepage at computeramerica.com. You'll just put in a username. That's the name to be known by. Click the connect button, and your browser will move you into the Computer America chat room. And also on that same page is our live Computer America video streaming page. You don't have to do anything. It will just start up automatically, and you can actually watch the show for yourself. But in the meantime, Ben and I are talking to DJ Shore. He is the CEO of EZRobot. So who are you finding so far are the people who use EZRobot. Who's using it?
Who uses EZRobot? Well, that's an interesting question because we originally, when you start a company, you think of demographics. You're like, who's our target customer? What are our verticals, etc. And you put together a business plan. And we were so surprised to find out that everybody is our vertical. It's impossible to not find somebody in the world who has an idea of a robot to do something. And I'm talking like we had an intern from Waterloo University, and he was working with us for a bit. And then one day he's like, you know what? I'm going to build a robot that's going to feed people. So he built a robot arm that can go down and with a spoon and take cereal and feed disability or elderly people who have trouble, or lazy people who are too busy to feed themselves. And then if you look at our forum, we have people who have made robot fish tanks. We have people who've made disability assistance robots and robot wheelchairs, and that wheelchairs that can follow other people in front of them without having to remote control it with a joystick. There's people doing some pretty remarkable things.
Wow. Now, so in other words, the robots are just not little tiny, these little mechanical things. You could...
They are not, definitely. We have our biggest robot to date. I believe there's 3 of them we have on our website right now, which are 6.5, I think one's 7 feet tall, and they're lost in space robots, and they weigh like 500 pounds.
Whoa.
And these things are fully functional. I mean, if you're listening to this radio show, you got to be a geek, you got to be a nerd, you got to know what Lost in Space is. It is the original Lost in Space robots to a T. Go to our website, check it out. These things, you can talk to them, they drive around. They're just remarkable accomplishments from some of our community members.
Because I'm looking at some of the pictures on your website, and they look like little, they fit in the palm of your hand, like a little spider, and so you're saying those are just some. You can actually...
It seems like those are the entry level, or at least the entry level robots.
That's right. Those are the robots that people are buying from us. So we sell 3 different types of robot kits. We have a humanoid, which if you're watching the video stream, you'll be able to see in a second. We have a spider, which is actually a hexapod because it only has 6 legs. And then we have a rolling robot, which is like a Mars rover. And those are kits that actually you can interchange parts between them. So you can build anything you want off it. And those are our kits that allow people to start building stuff from home. Now, when I refer to the 6-foot or 7-foot tall, 400, 500-pound robots, those are people taking our circuit board brain and our software, and they're adding it to their own custom robots as well.
Oh, okay. So it's fully integratable. Then, in other words, they can use your part of the system without having to start from scratch and just continue on doing what they're doing.
I guess that's a good question. How open source are you?
Very. So we do have a few functions that we have obviously IP behind. In order to maintain a business structure, we need to keep those internal, the code. But we license off everything, as well as we also freely distribute all of our libraries. And this is a funny thing, because people say open source, you get really excited, you think, oh my god, I can modify the source. But the chance you ever modifying someone's source code is, let's get real, it's very, very, very rare. But if they open up the library so you can use every single function of the library, then suddenly it doesn't matter if it's open or not. So we provide an open framework which allows people to be able to build off of our existing functions and add on to it, as well as we also open source all of our hardware, which means everything that's plastic and all our 3D printable parts, they're all open source. So those people can do whatever they wish.
So basically, if I'm looking for a particular function, I can go to your library and look for something that closely matches the function that I'm looking for. Okay, give me an example of I'm looking for a particular function. Pick something, and then how would I go about it?
Certainly. So if, let's say you wanted to be able to make the robot understand the color red, okay, so it's so easy. You literally just say, I want to add a robot behavior. So you just click add, and then you choose from a category, and there's categories like cameras, sound, motion, servos, all these categories, and you just choose sound or camera. In this case, it'd be camera, and then you choose the camera. And then when the camera loads up, now you have the other option of fine-tuning through menus of what you want that camera to do. So you could just choose the color red, and you can say, follow the color red, and the robot instantly starts following the color red.
Just that quick. In other words, you would find. In other words, you would say red. You first would find the color, and then you would say follow.
Yeah, so you have a couple different options. Now you could say I want to follow it by actually moving, so I want to walk towards it, or I want to follow it by maybe just moving my head. In my head, if I'm a robot, I'm going to generally have two axes, right? I'm going to have an X axis and a Y axis. I'm going to be able to move left and right, up and down.
Okay.
And you just say I want to be able to move the head and follow the object. Or you could say I want the robot to actually physically walk and follow that object. So you have those options at that level too. So you just keep answering questions and going through all of the different questions and eventually end up with a robot doing exactly what you want it to do.
What you want, and you have enough of those. There's enough diversity in those questions to get pretty much close to what you want to get.
Oh gosh, it's funny. Whenever I do demos, I have to understand is I know the software better than probably anyone else in the world, and when I do a demo, I'm in minutes having robots do some amazing stuff, and people just sit back and they go, wow, that robot's amazing, but it's going to take me forever to learn what you just showed me. It's generally because there's so many options in the software that it looks overwhelming when I use it because I know where everything is. But if you were to start, you could start very small and then continue to grow and then get to my level.
Well, and that's probably to me part of the fun, I would think.
Oh, definitely. I mean, how exciting do you feel when you find that, Shift Delete on the keyboard deletes your file without putting in the recycle bin? I mean, how excited were you when you figured that out?
I'm sure people who did by accident were not very thrilled, but I mean that's about right. Anyone who's ever used Photoshop for the first time, who's ever used Dreamweaver for the first time, any program, it seems like you build a platform that there are lots of ways to utilize it, but if it's your first time, there's obviously going to be some kind of learning curve.
Learning curve it's a good intro to the next topic, I guess, which could be how do people start and where do they begin.
Before you get, let me just ask you that. Let's go back to that red example. I want you to follow the color. What if you get to a point and you find it and you want to do something and it isn't in the menu, or maybe it's can you create a new function, or is it not necessary to do that? You just need to explore a different route.
This is great. You guys are challenging me. This is excellent. This is one of the funnest interviews I've done in a long time. I have to say that. I feel like I could really nerd out in this interview. That's a great question. So how do you add features that aren't there? Well, we have two ways. One is we have some really experienced community members who are really good programmers. They can actually write code for you if you were to ask on the forum. Additionally, we would actually take the questions that people are asking, and we internally write support for those features, as well as you'll sometimes do a search in our public library and on our cloud and find out that somebody might already have written that feature for you in the past.
Okay. So it truly is a community effort then.
It really is. And we don't have customers. We don't use that word. We use the word community all times. Even when we're internally talking, to our accountant, and they say, "How many customers do you have today?" I say, "You mean community members?" Because to us, it's all about community. It's a people participating for the future, and the future of robotics, and what that is going to be.
Yeah. Jack wants to build a robot that's going to search out everybody's credit card and look for credit card.
If I could tell you how many emails we get in a month of people worried that we're creating the next Skynet, it's I don't even want to go there.
Man, that would, I'll be honest with you, that would be the most adorable Skynet I've ever seen, because these robots are pretty cute.
Thank you. Yes, it would. We currently have a system we've implemented called Easy Cloud. Everything's easy, right? I think you guys got that. Easy Builder, Easy Robot, Easy DJ, they call me sometimes, I don't know. So you have this model where you can actually save apps and save variables and save everything you've done, even save 3D printed files, all on our cloud, and you can share them amongst everyone else who has a computer or a mobile phone using our app.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's Skynet version 0.1b.
0.1b, exactly. So I cut you off. You started moving to the next thing that you want.
Where someone starts with EZRobot.
Oh yeah. So where does somebody start? So generally, you start by buying a robot, okay? And you come to our website or you go to one of our resellers, get a robot. Now you get home, you're like, what do I do with this thing? How do I make it do anything? Well, we have a tutorial process. We have a whole section of the website called Learn, where we continually add and add and add and add and modify and build everything that people need to know about our platform and robotics in general. We explain to you how electronics work, how batteries hook up, everything, and we walk you through the process of actually putting the thing together. And we're constantly editing and modifying and adding to this tutorial section based upon user feedback.
Okay.
So yeah, so this whole tutorial thing, it's beginning to end. And do you have any kind of live support, or is it all handled through the forums, where if anyone has a question on any of these steps, they take it to the forums?
That's right, all handled to the forum. Our forum, like I said, we pay our community members to help other community members. So get this, every time you answer a question to help another community member, we give you $3 easy bucks to spend in our store. So all you have to do is answer 5 or 6 questions, and you can go buy yourself a robot part.
That's some pretty good incentive, especially since they're obviously in the same line of work. Real quick, we're going to be coming up on the break in a second. But sure. These parts that people are buying, what exactly are they buying, or could you save up all the way to a new robot?
Yeah, you could save up all the way to the new robot. We have, most people buy missile launchers and lasers and things like that.
Oh, that's nice.
World. Just kidding. They buy cameras and they buy brackets and feet and legs and heads, etc. And what they're doing is they're building a robot from parts or adding on to what they currently have. But we have some members who literally have thousands of dollars of easy credit, and they're buying complete robots.
Wow, wow.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Logo was the programming language I was thinking of, the little turtle, and you could program in Logo.
It was. I was gonna butt in and say something, but you had me mute my microphone, so I couldn't say it.
Logo, that's it. Now, in this day and age, do you think people might be designing robots, EZRobots, like to be used with drones? I mean, all that stuff's coming. Any thoughts about that?
That's right. We actually are going to have 4 robots when we first launched. We were going to have a flying robot. However, I'm not sure if you've been, how much attention you've been paying to the drone industry, but it's a pretty scary place to develop a product today because of all the flight regulation rules and safety rules, etc.
Yeah, the FAA wants their say.
I'll tell you what,
they do.
We're at the bottom of the hour, DJ, so we're going to take a little break, and then we'll come back. We'll continue on with the drone question.
Sure,
you listen to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network. EZRobot is our guest this hour. With CEO DJ Schurz is here with us. We'll continue on with them when we come back. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No Hair Removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No Hair Removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Tag, you're it. This is Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America. This time, the Pioneer BDP-80FD Blu-ray player. Blu-ray keeps evolving, but we don't pay enough attention to it, so we asked to get the Pioneer BDP-80FD Blu-ray player in for review. Its decoders cover most of the video and audio specs you'd expect, including 3D. Its output is HDMI and won't send signals to a non-HDCP, that's copy protection respective device, like some computer monitors. It has a USB input for playing stored video and a wired Ethernet port for playback from across the network, or YouTube, or Picasa content. What you most want to know, it's easy, mostly a no-brainer. Easy to use, and playback quality is excellent. Bottom line, a Pioneer BDP-80FD Blu-ray player handles a 2D or 3D disc, file, or stream like a dream. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
I guess he's right. I really haven't been paying to Blu-ray players at all. So good to know that they're advancing, even though we aren't paying attention to them. Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It's 33 minutes past the hour. That was Marty Wilson with a News Tip Bulletin Review. We actually have DJ Schurz here with us from EZRobot. He is the CEO, and right before the break, the commercials cut us off. We were just about to get into why you guys kind of backed away from a drone robot, because drones and the videos, people strapping GoPros to them and things like that. Drones have really gotten popular lately with all the tech people, because they're a great new hobby that people seem to be really getting into.
That's right. So EZRobot develops robot platforms that are, walking, crawling, driving, everything that lives on land. And we were talking right before the break about why we didn't develop a drone, which would, you think, wow, there's so much attention going to drones these days. And because of all the attention going to drones these days, specifically the politics around it, we decided that it wasn't a good focus for our company. It was very volatile product to create, because you have no idea what kind of licensing you're going to need to be able to buy these things.
Yeah. By the way, was he dancing to the music?
So I'm hoping that a lot of your listeners got on the website and are watching, because we just had, throughout the commercial break, had the robot dancing around to the music and to the commercials.
That's what I thought he was doing, because he was pretty much on time. And
he was smooth. I must say, he was smooth.
He had some actions. He had some moves there. He had some good moves. Yeah, exactly. If you're not watching, you really should watch this. This is one of the reasons why we have our live Computer America video streaming. So you can not only listen to the show, but you can actually watch the show, especially tonight. You can actually see the example of the EZRobot. Now, what model is he? Because you said you had different ones. What version is he?
So this one here that I have, and again, I will stand him up. Not everyone's listening or watching, but they better. He's a humanoid. His name is JD. Now, my name is DJ, so you can do the simple math there and figure it out. Yeah. So he was modeled after me because he's a clumsy humanoid, and this is something that I could show the viewers really quickly. Is when we talked about how you can build robots, all of these parts. That's right. All these parts are all interchangeable. What I'm doing actually on the camera here is removing parts by just unclipping them from the humanoid. So I could take his arm off, and I could strangely attach it to his chest. I could take his hand off and put it back where his arm was and give him a short little stubby.
That was malformed.
Yeah. So the idea here, of course, is to be able to build robots much like Lego.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like it's no soldering required. Basically, you're just clipping little
snap off, snap on. It can't be much easier than that.
That's right, and you can imagine what we're doing in the education industry right now. The impact this is having in education is just phenomenal. We didn't expect the market to be that big.
Yeah, speak a little bit about that. What kind of impact are you having on education with this device?
Ginormous. So what we've done is we decided to enter the education market by kind of tiptoeing in just to see what schools and educators wanted from platforms, and they currently are using products like Lego and etc. So we said, okay, well, let's take a look at their curriculum and let's apply their activity curriculum to what we have. And we did that, and it was easy. And then we said, all right, now let's make it so the robots could do real cool stuff. Let's make it so the robots could dance and get up and follow colors and do real world stuff. And all the educators are going, what, really? So this is actually a product that teaches our children how to grow up in a career of robotics. And suddenly they just, yeah, it's just amazing because you can, there's a lot of products out there that you can work with robotics, but you're not going to want to put those on your resume. And something like EZRobot is a platform you can put on your resume.
And I could imagine being in an education setting where maybe each classroom that's working with EZRobot, they have maybe one or two or at least one of each robot, and then if everyone has their own application, because I believe that there's like an app where you actually program the robot, you could actually load in different profiles and let like each student have a couple minutes with the robot.
That's right. So we actually are very affordable. We're cheaper than all other products that are out there, and we could do more. So teachers and educators and schools can buy more of our platform. So it's not just one student with a robot. It's numerous students with numerous robots working in a group. And because of our cloud model, it's great because you can make the robots communicate with each other, and you can build an app. And this is actually a funny story. We have one of our customers, this young individual, this young boy, built an app at breakfast in our software, brought his robot to school with his mobile phone, with the app was on the phone, okay, he built it on the phone, and showed it to his teacher, and the teacher said, I built this, and the teacher was like, no, you didn't, you're lying, you didn't build an app, you're 12. He's like, it's got my name on it, I built it, and he didn't even have to touch the mouse the entire time he was built, or the keyboard, sorry, he didn't have to touch the keyboard the entire time he was building the app, it was all just point and click, and he made a robot for breakfast.
I want to know if that teacher apologized that.
They may or may not be a customer of ours now.
New teachers are always skeptical when kids are ahead of themselves, but something like EZRobot, if it's so simple that, although I guess give credit where credit's due, young kids seem to gravitate to new technology like crazy. Mm-hmm. So have you found like younger kids really like what are they doing with robots? Because I can imagine you mentioned that you had an intern from a college, and he was talking about using it to feed people who are disabled or something like that. And adults, they actually put practical applications. But when you're a kid, you're thinking about whatever you want to think about, and you have maybe a little bit more imagination. Like, have you seen what some of the younger people who use your platform are doing with it?
Sure, definitely. The great thing about children, we can get kind of philosophical here because kids are so much different than adults, but they act mature and they talk to us, so we think of them just like ourselves. But you have to remember what it's like to be a kid. You're limitless. You haven't been told no as many times as we have as adults. So you don't understand no. You don't know what that means. So you go to sleep dreaming up the most amazing things. And children are building robots based upon things they're seeing in the world, and they wonder why. For example, why does mom do this? Why is dad constantly doing this? Why can't there be a robot to do these things? And if a child asks the parent goes, well, that's just the way it is, son. And the kid says, no, and if that's the way the world worked, we would never have computers and cell phones and cars and everything, spaceships and everything else we have. So what kids are doing with this is we have a video where we went to schools and actually interviewed them. You can find it on our website. And it was great because we asked kids, what do you want to do? And they said, well, window cleaning robots for skyscrapers. Home security robots, robots to watch the babysitter. Sure, you trust a babysitter, right? But are you going to trust a babysitter not inviting her boyfriend over? You never know. So there's a lot of interesting stories that children have of what they want robots to do.
Now, we've talked about. There's a question in the chat room. Jack wants to know how long would it take to build a robot? I don't know.
Hi, Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how long to take a robot? So from one of our kits, if you go to our website and see the 3 kits we have, it takes approximately an hour to 3 hours to assemble one of the robots. And within that an hour to 3 hour process, you have a robot dancing, you have a robot singing, you have it doing some pretty cool stuff.
So between 1 and 3 hours, you can have it up and running.
Because we noticed that the actual components that you showed, where you're clipping them on and off of a clipping on and off of JD, it was pretty quick. But there were wires attached to each module that I would assume has to go into to a board of some sort.
That's right. So in the back of every robot, the camera people can see this, and anyone on the website can go listen. But we have a circuit board which is actually wrapped in plastic. I mean, we want robots to be like this whole platform to be really easy to use. So everything's modular. Our circuit board is like a cartridge. You plug the cartridge in the back of the robot or wherever the type of robot you have is, and then on the front side of it you have all these connections. And in our software, and it doesn't matter who made the app, right? You can make your own app. It'll show you step by step in 3 dimensions on the screen. With 3D, you can rotate it around. It shows you where to connect the wires. So if you can imagine, ever open up a Lego book? Remember, you guys probably never did this either. You ever follow instructions in Lego? Ever?
No,
Really?
My brother built the entire full-scale model of an X-wing, and I broke it, and I've never followed instructions since. But it's hard. It's one-dimensional.
That's right. It's one-dimensional. It's hard to use. Lego books are a challenge, and that's why Lego turned into the creative platform it is. Is their manual made it so confusing. It was easier for us just to create anything we wanted. So with our platform, we made it so that the instructions are built in the software. So it's actually like a video game. You actually get to walk through like a video game type interface and build your robot.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, because Ben doesn't like to read instruction manuals.
Who does? Who does?
Yeah. I like to read them because usually when I read them, it gets done right in the first. But that's my general.
My IKEA furniture leans slightly to the left, and I like it that way.
Yeah, furniture and exactly. I had to undo all the things and then put it back after I read the instructions. But he had fun putting it together.
Yeah. There's something like that.
Think about this. With this platform, you can make your IKEA furniture come to life.
Well, let me ask you, is there a wrong way? Is there something wrong? Can you plug something in that you shouldn't plug something in, or do you have fail-safe? So it really doesn't matter how you plug it in. It might not
That's
do what
right.
you
You can plug it in backwards, but nothing's going to happen. It's not like, like the joke is if you plug your TV in backwards, does it become a camera? Or you plug your stove in backwards, does it become a refrigerator? No, the robot doesn't turn into something else if you plug it in backwards and take over the world. So it just doesn't work. It just stops working. And then you just plug it in the correct way and it starts working again. So there's a lot of fail-safes to prevent anything from shorting out.
But when you put something together, can you get unexpected results? In other words, sometimes you would say, "Do what I mean. Don't do as I say. Do what I mean." Is that going to happen? I mean, if you're
Sure.
You learn this from programming. You write code and everything, and of course it's going to do exactly what you told it to do, and you go, "No, that's not what I meant."
Well, let's imagine this. This is kind of funny. Imagine I can climb into your head tonight, and I could take all your nerves and swap them around, so that the nerve that goes to your arm now goes to your leg, and the nerve that goes to your foot now goes to your eyeball, right? And when you wake up, try to walk. Right? If you can get down the stairs and to work, if you can just get dressed for that matter, I would be thoroughly impressed. So if you imagine hooking up the wires incorrectly, your robot at worst case scenario is going to do a very interesting yoga pose.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about companies. I mean, we're having fun. We're talking about education. We're talking about people. Everyday people doing this. But how do companies use? Can they use EZRobot? I mean,
I love that question.
I
love it.
Automobile assembly line. What are we going to do?
That's great. When you think of robots, generally people think automobile assembly line or factories building things, and that has been the case for many years until today. It's funny when people say, what companies use your platform? Well, we have some pretty big ones. I mean, our customer base, we've shipped to Google, we've shipped to NASA, we ship to everyone. But who uses us the most as companies are companies that are looking to skip the whole level of R&D. Why start from scratch? Why are you going to build a robot platform from scratch? If you're building a telepresence robot and that's your actual end product, you want to sell it at Costco, or you want to sell it at Walmart, or you want to sell it in the mass production to people, then why would you start from scratch? You would license our platform. So we do that.
So you license your platform then for people who want to resell their products using your components. You actually have licensing agreements for that?
That's right, yeah, and it's actually a really easy business model for us because it doesn't take any effort internally. We literally have an SDK that's distributed, and we have our hardware, and companies buy the platform, and they integrate it into their hardware, and then they license it from us, and off they go. It's very simple. It's a much more cost-effective revenue stream than actually producing robots itself. But of course, what's the fun in that? You have to produce robots to have fun.
Can you tell us, give an example of any company that we might know that's using an EZRobot? I mean, are you allowed to talk about that?
We're a new company, and we currently have 3 very large companies that are working with us right now that I can't divulge that information.
Okay.
But you'll know soon, because one of them will be on the shelves and will actually say powered by EZRobot on the side. The other 2, we're working those details out. But the reason why I like this question so much isn't just because there's big companies using us. The part that I love about this question is the number of community members we have who actually have registered businesses and created companies and products are on our platform. We have somebody just a couple days ago who's working on a robot in his basement with his 3D printer, and he must have built, I think he's crazy. This guy's built like 7 or 8 robots in the past year. And this robot, he's put in a Kickstarter. He's started his own company, and he wants to produce robots around this. At CES a couple weeks ago, at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, there was a robot featured on CNN, and it was powered by EZRobot as well. So there's actually quite a few robots out there that you'll be able to buy that you're going to start seeing that are powered by our platform.
So you're already making inroads to this. This is and it sounds like that's really coming along. Let me ask you. We
don't sleep very much. Let's just say that. In Canada, we're in Canada. I actually know if the listeners know this, but we're a Canadian company in Alberta, Canada, and it snows about 364 days of the year. So there's nothing else to do but build robots.
Okay, now
you guys never sleep. It's like you're a bunch of robots.
Right, yeah. Right. I was going to say, now put the real DJ on. We've been talking to yeah, exactly. By
the way, I guess one thing that if people were thinking about building their own robots and they might want themselves, do you actually sell speakers for your robots so that you can put them in and then you can play sound files?
Yeah, so inside of the cartridge, inside of the brain cartridge, there's a speaker. So you can actually stream your music from your phone or from your computer, and even your voice. You could even push a button and talk through your phone and have it come out the robot as well.
Now you say that's part of it, but you write the little programming module or something to say, okay, when I speak to my phone, I mean, you can look up phone, you can look up microphone, and you say, okay.
You got it. You just look up microphone, you add it to your project, you add it to your robot. You just click add. It adds it, and next thing you know, you're talking to your robot. You could right now. We're actually sitting here with a robot next to me, and for example, if I were to push this button that's right on my phone, it says Start Music. Now, can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually coming out of the robot, and the robot's starting to dance. And we actually got creative, and we actually printed up a little microphone for this guy, so he'll actually sing a song with a microphone. But of course, anybody watching the video should be really excited.
Yeah, JD's really getting down.
He is, But anybody listening to the radio show who isn't watching the video is probably annoyed at this right now. So I'll stop him. Let me just push the stop button.
There you go. There's the microphone.
There we go. Cool.
Very cool. And of course, people can watch this after the show too. You can time shift it. So.
Great.
Yeah, you can not only listen to the show, but you can also, when you go to our archives menu at computeramerica.com, and you can not only listen to the show, archive, you can also watch the show. We have our own, the live Computer America video is actually on our own YouTube channel, so you can watch it there.
Good, and you get to see me in my dining room. This is where I am right now. We have an office, and if I would have known I was going to be on video today, I probably would have stayed there because it's much cooler to see. We have Doctor Who pinball machines and original Asteroids cabinets, and it's actually a really cool place.
Oh, it's the executive dining room. Don't tell anyone different.
That's right. This is actually where it all began. This is the original EZRobot. I'm home so little that I'm sitting beside EZRobot T-shirts from the very beginning.
Look at that.
They've been in my living room ever since. And we have our circuit board in the back here.
Wow, that is a while ago. If you simplified the one on the back of the shirt to the little module in your hand, you've come a long way.
That's right. We started off with a circuit board that was, very clunky, and that was the beginning of EZRobot. And we were making it so people can build robots with other people's platforms, not necessarily our own. And then one day we asked our customers, our community, we said, "Hey guys, what do you want to do? What do you want our next thing to be?" And they said, "Make a Lego-like thing." And we said, "All right, we'll do it." So we did it.
You kind of think of yourselves as, I mean, let's face it, the computers, they started, the personal computer revolution started in home and garages, and the first Apple was made, and now you're making the first robots in your home, and the sky's the limit. It's going to be the next Apple of robots type of thing.
Well, that's we've been called a few things. We've been called the Minecraft of robotics. We've been called the Apple of robotics. Different media sources. So whichever one, whatever one wins, we'll take.
That's very flattering, I would think. So,
yeah.
Wait, real quick. I think when you pan the camera down, by the way, to so we could get a better look at the robot. You have a Robo Sapien in the background.
Oh, I do. Yes. So I have a Robo Sapien down there.
Oh, there he is again.
There he is. Yeah. And so that's one of my robots that I have in the robot collection.
It's a long story. We bought Ben a Robo Sapien for Christmas, and he didn't want it. So that's
yeah, it's a different story.
Had we given you an EZRobot, though, that's something you probably would have taken to.
Well, I think personally it's just the Robo Sapien, very cool robot, does a lot of things, very easy to use, but it doesn't have the creative side that EZRobot seems to have. It's creative side.
Well, we just found a new community member, didn't we?
Yeah,
I think so.
That's good to hear.
And to send him an EZRobot, and he can get very creative.
And yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we've got about a few minutes left, DJ. Why don't you talk a little bit about where you want to go with this? What's the future for EZRobot?
The future of EZRobot. Well, like I said at the beginning, we're a platform play. What that means is we want people to build robots off our platform, and we want people to build robots that do some real cool stuff. And then we're going to actually help people manufacture those robots. So we're going to help turn people's ideas into platforms, and we would like to start a robot incubator, and it's something that's on the goal for the next year, where people who have robot ideas, we would like to incubate those ideas and turn them into actual real products. So in the next 5 years, we'd like to see our EZRobot become essentially like Intel, the Intel inside of robotics. Everyone who builds a robot, why would you start from scratch? Use us, and we'll make it happen.
Wow. Now, what can you talk a little bit about what the different robot kits cost, and give us an idea what would someone have to spend basically to get themselves started with EZRobot?
Sure. So the 3 robots we offer today are each $499, so $500. And with $500, you end up with a robot that has a camera, it has speech recognition, that can control it from your Wii phone or your Wii remote, your phone, it's got programmable eyes. I mean, you can do everything with these things for $500. So we're very, very competitively priced compared to anything else out there.
I would think so. I mean, that's actually a lot less expensive than I thought. The initial cash layout, and then once you have it, then you can keep adding to it. I mean, is that basically what happens? You can just keep adding to the unit?
That's right. Yeah, you just keep adding to the robot, and you keep modifying it with different parts, so you can make it do different things. And eventually you have your robot doing stuff that you really never thought was possible before, because you thought, man, that'd be really too hard to make myself. But with our platform, we want it to be very easy.
I think you have a pest control problem or something.
That's right. We're giving the viewers a treat right now. This is a hexapod robot we have walking on the ground. It's got 6 legs, and you can wave at the camera here and say hello. There we go.
By the way, you mentioned, Rook, that you are using 3D printers. Has that opened up anything for you guys? Using 3D printers, do you get people asking you for parts that you obviously haven't created for because they're asking for them, and you just go out and design them, or have one of the community members design them and you just print them out?
Yeah, something very similar to that. What we've done is we've opened it up. So when we were designing the plastic parts, the first thing I did is run off and bought a 3D printer. I wanted to, it's like, we got to make this as cheap as possible. I mean, injection mold process is very expensive. It cost us almost $1 million to develop these plastic components. Wow. So it would have cost us a lot more, if we wouldn't have had 3D printers. So with 3D printers, we were able to prototype the parts. And while we were doing it, I said, wait a second, all these parts are 3D printable. Why don't we share them with our community who have 3D printers? So they don't have to buy the whole part, or if they break it, they can replace it. Or they can take what we have, modify it, and make it a little bit different. So for example, the humanoid robot, who's named JD after me, one of our community members made a female version of him who has a bow in his head. Okay? And these are all parts that are downloadable from our software. So it's the 3D printing has opened up a whole. Not only has it made it really cost effective for us, we never would have been able to make this product happen if we didn't have 3D printing technology. But it also allows our community to participate in our company and participate by being inventors themselves, by creating parts.
Exactly. And all you need is the specifications, and then you can just feed them into your 3D printer, and it'll print it out however you want.
That's right. Yeah, we actually provide, because we're very tutorial based, we like to educate all our customers. We have the community, sorry, our community. We have all of our tutorials, everything in our software even says what software to download to make your own parts. So if you want to design something for a 3D printer, we tell you, go to AutoCAD 123, download it, install it. You know, there's a bunch of other software out there as well, and you can start creating your own parts. Pretty simple, actually. YouTube is a very good source as well.
Well, DJ, really, I want to thank you for spending an hour with us here on the Computer America show and telling us all about EZRobot. And again, you can go to our Computer America. Just go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com. You'll see today's show, February the 2nd, and you'll be able to see a link to EZRobot's website. And it's actually EZ-robot.com, but we have a link right there, and you can see it for yourself. Is he waving goodbye?
He is. You say goodbye.
Goodbye. Listen, DJ, it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being with us. Your best of luck to you with your company, and keep us informed. Keep us in touch. Keep in touch with us. Let us know how things are coming along for you. Okay?
Definitely, yes. And thank you very much for inviting me on the show. And to anyone listening, if you want to talk to me directly too, I spend a lot of time on our forum. And if you have any questions for me, visit our website and ask away.
All right, DJ Shores, CEO of EZRobot. Thank you for being with us here tonight at Computer America.
You bet. Take care.
Take care. Have a good night. Bye-bye. All right, so there you go. I mean, you know, for those of you who want to experiment with robots, I mean, I don't see how much it can't be much easier, really. You don't even have to be a programmer to do it. He's truly made it easy to experiment with robots and for yourself. He's got the whole community going. I think it was a very interesting interview, and of course, again, you can watch everything at computeramerica.com. All right, coming up in the next hour, Ben and I are going to, instead of the computer news, we're going to be going to our DIY portion of the Computer America show coming up. And
it's new, it's different, and we're going to try it. I think it's going to be a good segment.
Yeah, I think so too. And also, another News Tips Bulletin Review from Marty Winston. We'll have another brand new one, it being Monday. You listen to the Computer America show on the Boost Radio Network, on the Blog Talk Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. We're going to just for a few moments, and we'll be right back with Hour 2 of the Computer America show. Stay with us.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at computeramerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, 24 years, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
That was a fun first hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the little robots, EZRobots. I'll tell you, if you haven't watched our live Computer America video streaming page. Another great one was the 3D printer segment we did. Watch this one, okay? Because
he pretty much every one of the starting robots that you could think of, he gave a live demonstration of them in the video portion, and it's definitely one of the better video. It's a message easier conveyed via video because it's a robot. You want to see what it does. You don't just want to hear about it. So yeah, check that out in our archives.
Yeah, exactly. I would I highly recommend that. Check it out. Again, at computeramerica.com. Just go to our archives page, and you can actually watch. We have the YouTube channel. You can actually watch it at your own leisure. All right. So we're in hour 2 of the Computer America Show. Of course, we've got a brand new news bulletin review from Marty Winston. It'll be coming at the bottom of the hour. And so, anything else you want to talk about before we head over to our news segment, our new news segment?
No. Should just happy 24th anniversary.
Yeah.
I've only been here for a couple years, but you've been here, I assume, all 24.
Yes.
I don't think at any point it was not the Craig Crossman Computer America Show. So yeah, 24 years. It's a long time.
Yeah. Well, it's always been Computer America. 1 year before that. It was a local show, and the show was called Soundbites. The program director actually came up with that title. He wanted to call it Craig Crossman Soundbites, but then when it became Computer
Question?
Yes.
Was the sound bites with a Y?
Yes, with a B-Y, B-Y-T-E-S.
Yes.
That was the play on the words, because bite, B-Y-T-E, was everybody kind of knew what that was. So because a sound bite, B-I-T, is actually a radio or an audio. It's a phrase, a standard industry phrase. All right. Well, let's do some computer and technology news, or actually, we're going to do our DIY segment.
Our DIY segment brought to you by Slimmer Utilities.
All right, here we go. Tonight's DIY segment is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for
free.
For free, absolutely. Everything at slimwareutilities.com website is completely free. You don't have to upgrade. It's not a freemium model. They're all free. So head over to slimwareutilities.com. Download everything that they have there. Keep them. You never know when you're going to need them. And use them when you need to, or even when you don't need to, because it's going to speed. It really, truly will speed up and optimize and clean your system. You'll be happy that you did, and you'll thank us for it. Slimwareutilities.com.
One of our future segments, and I know it's yes, they're a sponsor and all that kind of thing, but we really do like the whole suite from Slimware. So one of the topics in the coming month, because every night that we have news, we're going to have a different kind of segment. Tonight's is about browsers and how to use browsers more effectively and that kind of thing. We are going to have another segment involving how to speed up and optimize your computer. And we'll go into the basic system tools and that kind of thing, what you can run, what processes you can end, and things like that, to lighten up the load on your computer. And part of that is obviously going to be running some kind of software like Slimware Utilities. So we're going to get into how to run that kind of thing as well. So look forward to that if you haven't checked out Slimware Utilities yet, but want to see what it's about.
Yeah, no, I think that I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have some very interesting topics in the upcoming weeks. So, all right, so we're going to start out here. With this first one, why don't you introduce it? This is from How to Geek.
Yeah, just a broad starting point. Again, this whole segment is dedicated to how to use a browser more effectively and some things you may not have known, or just because an internet browser, that is essentially how you communicate with the internet. Mm-hmm. A browser can be anything from Internet Explorer to Mozilla Firefox to Google Chrome to Apple Safari to Opera, whatever. I think Netscape even has one still. Mm-hmm. Browsers are just the way that your computer displays information from the internet.
Right.
Everyone uses them. They're loaded on BASIC, and then you can go download different ones that may not come with your computer natively. But everyone uses them. I just feel like maybe people don't use them as effectively as they should, because if you've ever watched someone who's used a browser maybe not the way you are used to, you say, oh no, why are you doing that? Why are you doing it that way? You could have just easily done this, 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 and this, and then the person looks at you with a blank stare and says, I didn't know you could do that. So hopefully if you're listening to this and even if you've been using a browser your whole life, you may be able to pick up a few tips here and there and say, oh, I didn't know you could do that, and so that's where we're going to start. And the first article we actually found is a great website that's going to come in very much handy. We should probably actually have them on the show since we're going to be borrowing or reading from their site so much. Is a great website called howtogeek.com. And as you can tell by the name of the website, it pretty much tells you how to do many, many things.
Mm-hmm.
This one was actually found by our booking goddess, and she thought it was a great feature that I actually hadn't heard about either. But it's first of all, what's a tab, Craig?
Okay, well, it's on top of any kind of a can, and you pull it to open it, and you drink it.
Perfect. Let's try more in technical sense, more of a computer setting.
Okay. Well, I guess you're talking about a browser tab, and a browser tab. I think at first, I can't remember which browser. It was a very unusual name.
I think it was Opera.
They came up with it. No, I don't think it was Opera. It was something before.
Opera. It was one of those two.
One of those two. Okay, but basically, you came up with it. Every time you wanted to go to, let's say you were on a website and you wanted to look at a different website, and you wanted to look at them simultaneously, you had to create a new browser window. Okay, it's under the file. You can go
I remember those days.
Yes, exactly. And so you can have 4 or 5 websites or more, 10 websites open, but every one of them had its own browser page. That was the only way to do it. And obviously, you only have so much screen real estate, and so it got to be, if anything more than 3 browser windows that you had open, it became cumbersome.
Well, not only was it multiple browser instances, but the resources, because it's not just running one program and it kind of says, okay, we can piggyback 2 or 3 more like you can with tabs now. If you opened up one instance of a browser and then you said, okay, maybe I want to run 5, it used 5 times the resources right off the bat.
Well, you had 5 browser windows on top of that. Yeah, you're right. And so basically,
and computers weren't that fast. I mean, back then.
And you didn't have really big screens either. So
that's right.
You run out of screen real estate. So you had to kind of stack the windows on top of each other, and then you had to try to select it to get to, and it was very cumbersome. So they said there had to be a better way of doing it, and there was, and it's called browser tabs. And all today's modern browsers have tabbed browsing. So basically the idea is that if you're on a website and you want to open up a different page, you can just create a new little tab, and that's up on the top of the screen. It's like it actually looks like a tab. And then you can put in a new URL, and then you can have that. And then the beautiful thing about it is that you can switch from one screen to another just by clicking on little tabs at the top of the screen. Now, for most people using browsers today, this is probably totally
very obvious.
Yeah, very obvious. I don't even think about it. But 10 years ago, well, before this stuff came around, this was big news because you could literally switch from one browser, one URL to another just by clicking on a tab, whereas before, it was very difficult to do. On top of that, it's the same browser window, so you don't take up all your screen real estate. One browser window can have 10, 15 tabs, and you can just switch to whatever screen you want to watch just by clicking on a tab.
Yep,
and that's basically tabbed browsing.
Yep, and that led to multiple tabs, and that just increased productivity by leaps and bounds. You
can configure the browser so if you click on a hyperlink or something, instead of opening up another window, it'll open up in another tab. So you can set up most any browser to do that. New windows actually appear in a new tab.
Good point. One of the things that I do, there are settings inside most browsers that if you dig deep enough, you can find it in your browser settings where it just automatically opens up into a new tab. But sometimes I like to chase link after link after link and don't worry about new tabs. I just have it set to default. But on my mouse, I'm sure with most mice, if you press in the scroll wheel button, you actually get like a clicking sound. Mm-hmm. And just by doing that, pressing the middle button on your mouse, it opens a tab. It opens the link in a new tab all by itself. For me, it was just the quickest workaround. You can still left-click it; it'll follow the link good at, right as rain. And then you middle click it, opens it in a new tab, and then you forget about it until you want to look at it.
Exactly.
And then the most cumbersome of the three options is to right click any link, and you can actually say open in a new tab, open in a new window, anything like that. So opening in a new tab is useful if you want to find information maybe on another page, but you don't want to lose your place on the page you are currently using.
Okay. So that's basically the idea behind the tabs. And when we found this article on How to Geek, one of the things about tabs is they're always at the top of the browser window. And that's how you do it. And evidently, there's a dedicated number of community browsers out there who consider a vertical tab bar or a tree-style tabs to be an essential feature. In other words, so instead of having all the tabs on the top of the screen, they now appear on the left side of the screen. And not only that, they're what's known as a hierarchical structure, or or a tree structure, if you will. So you not only do you see the different windows, but all the sub windows, or all the links that you opened from within that initial window are indented slightly to the right. Okay, so you can actually just look at it. You can see which ones are open on the main one, and also there's a little arrow so that you can actually see, or you can close up the hierarchical structure.
Kind of helps if you have that moment of how did I get here? If you open everything through tabs, you'll have a very easy breadcrumb trail to follow. By the way, this particular article that we found, it seems like a lot of these articles were written for Mozilla Firefox, because Firefox used to be or at least, and probably still is, the browser of choice for people who like to tinker or who like to customize. Firefox is really, really good at that. Although Chrome, same thing, but it's just more simplified from the start, and you have to do apps and things like that. We'll cover apps later. But yeah, tree-style tabs for Firefox.
Right. So what this is this is obviously not native to Firefox. This takes advantage of something they call add-ons. Excuse me.
Add-ons, yes.
Add-ons, exactly. And it is an add-on that you can add to Firefox, and it's called. There's a tree-style tab add-on for Firefox that you can open and look at, and it'll actually take you to that screen, and it's called Tree-Style Tab. That's what it is. It's an add called Tree-Style Tab. Anyway, you download that, and Firefox will actually automatically install it for you after you download it. That's another nice feature of Firefox. So it'll do it all for you automatically. And lo and behold, poof, you will now have vertical tree-style tabs in your web browser. That's what it does. And yep, the add-on moves the tab bar to the side of your Firefox window, where it looks more like a sidebar. And this allows you to see a much larger list of tabs than on a typical top-of-the-window tab bar. And you can read the full title of each tab, so you can see which tab is which. That's also a very important feature, because you have more screen real estate, because as you know, you can adjust from left to right this the separate window that this creates. It goes basically where you would normally see the sidebar. It would be bookmarks or history. Now you've added the vertical tabs, and you can put it there, and so it'll take the place for that for you.
Very niche if you're someone who likes to just tab surf the internet, where you're opening tabs left and right, but you aren't really following where you're going or what you're doing. This kind of keeps them all in some kind of order, not just all piled on top of each other. This kind of nests them and lets you organize tabs, which don't get me wrong, I've seen people open 20 tabs at a time, and oh man, I actually helped this one lady. She had 100 tabs open in one instance. Like there was like 50, and then there was like another like arrow pointing to like another 50. All tabs open at the same time, and I'm like, why do you have so many tabs open? It's like, oh, it just does it automatically, and I didn't know how to, or didn't know what it was, so I haven't touched it. She has like 100 windows open. It was crazy. So if you want to organize your tabs and you're a big tab browser, this is something you might want to look into. Chrome their add-on, or at least one of the most popular add-ons of this sort, is called Tabs Outliner. Very same thing. Gives you the kind of tree deal you want to go with. It even gives you some more. It gives you more customizability because it not only tracks whatever whatever browser it's in. It actually exists outside the browser, and it tracks multiple instances. So if you have like a pop-up window or you have multiple windows open, then it has your tabs inside each window from one screen.
Yeah, it is. And the other nice thing about the Firefox implementation is that it's, as I mentioned, it's hierarchical. So all that basically means is that you can see the initial first tab, and then if you're opening links on that page, all of the subsequent tabs beneath it will be indented. And then if you open, let's say, another one, let's say the third one down, that will be further indented in too. So you can see, you can sort of like see how the pages or the tabs relate to each other, which I think is kind of cool.
Yep, very neat. And yeah, just want to say Chrome has one, Opera, of course, has one as well. Internet Explorer, though. Apparently, it's going to be a running trend with Internet Explorer where Internet Explorer does not have very good third-party support. It doesn't have good add-ons, plugins, other features of that sort. Just people don't like designing for Internet Explorer. They rather use something like Chrome or Firefox or Safari. So Safari also has one, though. It's called the plugin. But I just wanted to introduce tabs and what you can do with them, and that you can actually customize them to kind of work for you.
Right. And again, the different names. The ones for Firefox, which seems to be the most popular, is the tree style tab. And you can, when you get to it, there's a link to it. You can just add it to Firefox, and it'll actually just plug it right in for you, and then you can see exactly what it looks like. And then you have different styles of the different tabs that you can use. That actually allows you to make different styles of it too.
Yep. And I think that would launch us into our next category of what to talk about with browsers is plugins, add-ons, and things like that. And by the way, one that we just automatically recommend right off the bat, we're not even going to, before we even launch into it, go Google AdBlock Plus and figure out how to install it on your particular browser, because first of all, that thing just saves so much time. If you're browsing YouTube videos, or if you just go to web pages that have ads left and right, it's crazy. AdBlock Plus, you can still greenlight websites you like, but it saves you time, so we like that one. But AdBlock Plus is a good example of what a plugin is. And plugin, add-on, use interchangeably, just depends on what platform you're running. Think of them like apps for your smartphone. You think of them like apps for your smartphone. You kind of download them and then you run them in your browser, and then they do special specific things. So be it maybe little games or something like that for your browser. It's going to be like the one we just talked about with organizing your tabs. AdBlock Plus is going to do something like that. There are many different add-ons out there that you can go download.
Well, you know, it's interesting because in Firefox, when you go under Tools, you click Add-ons, it actually opens up yet another window or tab page, and then you can see, it'll show you obviously the plugins that you already have if you have some, and usually there's at least one in there that just defaults. But then they have something called Get Add-ons, and when you click Get Add-ons, there's actually a video that says First Time with Add-ons, so you can actually watch this, and it even explains what add-ons are and how it basically amplifies your browser. It just gives it more abilities than, as if it didn't have enough, you can add so many more, and then they actually give you. They show you some featured add-ons, you know, like you have private tabs or clear console. Looking at some of them, Instant Fox, Quick Ghostery. These are some of the ones that you have, and then you can get featured themes and more ways to customize. These are all add-ons that you can add to to your browser. And then of course you have extensions, which are additional plugins. And you can see AdBlock Plus. I have Chatzilla for our browser. and you can see a listing of all the ones that you have in there, and then you have different preferences. You can have it disabled, you can turn them on, you can turn them off, you can have it ask you for permission before it turns on. I mean, you have full control over all of these modules. Again, some of them fall into the appearance category. It makes so you can get different appearances for your browser. You can really customize the browser to, have a World of Warcraft appearance if you want. I mean, there's so many different customizable features with appearance browse plugins.
Yeah, I actually use. Just go to themes, and you can get different themes. Maybe you're really into beach and surfing like that, or maybe you're into jungle, rainforest, cats, dogs, puppies, kittens, what have you. There are themes out the wazoo, just tailored to exactly what you want. It doesn't really add anything, but it makes your browser experience more personal.
Now, some of them are utilitarian in nature. For example, I have there's a Shockwave Flash plugin. So if you want to watch anything with Flash animations, you have to have that in your browser, and you can download those. For example, Google Earth. If you're into using Google Earth, there's a plugin for your browser, so you can actually use Google Earth from within your browser rather than the standalone application. Of course, there's Java. I can't say it, but I do have a Java plugin.
It's a plugin.
Yes, it's a plugin. Java 8 Update 25 is the current version. That's there. Okay. And then there are other ones. For example, Microsoft has one called Silverlight. That's an interesting plugin because some of the websites.
That's big for Netflix. You actually need Silverlight.
That's right. So you can. And if you don't have it, guess what? It's going to say, "Hey, you don't have it. Would you like me to install it?" And then you're going to go, "Well, why do I need it?"
Yeah.
So, and there's usually always an explanation as to what it does. You shouldn't go blindly installing plugins or add-ins to your browser. But if you're at a place like Netflix that says that you need it, chances are you're going to need it. Otherwise, you probably won't be able to use the service.
Yeah, it's just like the end user agreement for Apple's iTunes. It's like you don't technically need to say yes, but if you want to use iTunes, you kind of got to say yes. So be on the lookout for plugins like Craig was saying for Adobe or Flash or whatever, Silverlight, whatever it is. You kind of need those to use those services, and they use those to run whatever programming language they have. Just so they can run whatever they need, whatever service they're trying to provide you. They need that backend in there programmed already. But if you go in, but just to wrap up the whole apps and plugins thing, if you go into the App Store, they have most modern browsers. They have one that looks pretty much exactly like your App Store on your phone. They have game apps. They have like little weatherbuck apps. They have a Pandora app. They have any app that you can think of for your phone. They also make it for your browser. So if you've never checked that out, let's say you have a Pandora account, you can actually go on your browser, and yes, you can just type in pandora.com, but you can also get an add-on for Pandora, and it will run it just natively on your computer. So so things to look into if you haven't tried them before. And there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of add-ons and plugins to explore. Just real quick, read the reviews. Don't go like Craig said. Don't blindly download any of them that look interesting, because sometimes they're full of either they're buggy or they crash things,
or they add toolbars,
or they add toolbars, which is awful.
Yeah, a toolbar basically is another menu of options. For example, some websites will, if you go to, let's say, a coupon clipping website, and they'll say, well, in order for you to get those coupons, you have to download our toolbar. And you'll go there and you'll say, okay, you'll download it, and then of course you can print out their coupons. And then you go to another website that has some other features. Well, you need to download our toolbar. After 5 or 7 or 10 toolbars, you have so many toolbars stacked up at the top of your browser window that you don't have much space left to see what it is that you're browsing to. And toolbars can be insidious. and because to try and remove them, you have to go around through all kinds of machinations to remove them. And I think
to kind of compound the toolbar problem, sometimes they're hidden in software that you download for free, and you download, install it on your computer, and then as you're clicking next, finish, all those next that you're clicking, sometimes they'll automatically install browser plugins. So watch out for those as well. You don't have to install them, but if you're just kind of rushing through it, you may miss it, and it will install it automatically.
Yeah, and they default to install. In other words, they don't default on off. They default to being on. Unless you uncheck it, you're going to add a toolbar, or a plugin, and so you have to be very careful as to what you're doing. So, I mean, take a moment to read and see, especially when you're downloading something that you want, to make sure that it's the only thing that it's installing and not trying to add something else.
Yep, we only have about 2 or 3 more minutes here in the first half hour, but let's cover one more topic, and that's different browsers. Your computer is going to come with its own browser pre-installed. That's because everyone loves the internet, and a browser is necessary to view the internet. If you're buying Windows, more than likely it's going to be Internet Explorer. If you're buying a Chromebook, more than often Chrome. If you're buying any kind of Linux machine, we've talked about them before. Most distributions of Linux come with Mozilla Firefox already installed, and iPhones and things like that come with Safari. Each one has their default browsers. They have pros, they have cons. Craig is a fan of Mozilla Firefox, but he also uses Chrome at this point. Yeah. I use 2 or 3 myself. It's a matter of preference. You should try them out. They're all free. If anyone ever tries to charge you $9.99 a month to use a browser, don't bother. But if you ever sit there wondering, why are there so many browsers? It's because companies develop them individually, and they like to have their own browser that they can develop in. So just find whichever one works best for you, and don't feel bad that you're betraying your Internet Explorer by going to Chrome.
And let me just give an example. For example, why I keep several different browsers. I keep Firefox, I keep Chrome, and Safari, the 3 browsers I keep. But sometimes you'll find a feature that you like on one browser that is not on the other browser. In case in point, one of the features that is on Chrome, Ben actually pointed this out to me, is that if you're opening multiple tabs, we discussed that, and if the tab, the screen that you open up happens to start auto-playing sound, well, in Firefox you don't know which tab it is, and so you have to close them all or just go through one after another. Chrome actually places a little speaker on top in the tabs, letting you know that that's the tab that's playing audio. So you can click on that tab and stop whatever audio is going on, or just close that tab to stop the sound from happening. So, you're going to find little extra value things that might be on one and on the other. That's always a good reason to go to that particular browser. You should have more than one in your toolkit. You should have at least 2 browsers.
They're free. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Exactly. All right, you listen to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, the IRN Radio Network. We got a brand new News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up. This is the Computer America Show, and we will be right back. Stay with us. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number. 1-866-663-MyTV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MyTV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MyTV. 1-866-663-MyTV.
Aw, were you waiting for me? Hi, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the PortaPow USB Power Monitor version 2. Now, you may have had an inkling that those warts and power pucks feeding their USB gear may have fudged their specs a bit. But how can you be sure? Underpowering or power-starving some kinds of gear, like USB drives, can have some bad consequences, like head crashes. So we got in the PortaPow USB Power Monitor version 2, about the size of a chunky chocolate. It has a short, attached USB-A male for plugging into the power source, and a USB-A female for the power consumer, which can be either gear or a resistive dummy load. A front button backlights the 3-line LCD that tells you the source voltage between 3 and 7 volts DC. USB spec is 5 volts. The amount of current being delivered between 0 and 2.5 amps. The amount of power at DC, that's voltage in volts times current in amps to yield power in watts, being drawn. Bottom line, anytime the performance versus specs of USB products gets suspicious, a PortaPow version 2 USB power monitor is auspicious. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Thank you, Marty Winston. And I see you switching up to the out messages now. They changed it up. But welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour is our 24th birthday. Yay. And by the way, that is so easy to remember because Computer America is only 1 month younger than I am.
Wow.
Very true. So it's very easy to keep track of how old Computer America is.
At least
at
least for you.
At least for me. So we're doing not computer technology news, but a DIY segment. The segment's devoted to how you can get more out of your browser, brought to you by Slumber Utilities. And we just finished up different browsers. Why get each one? Pros and cons. You should definitely be trying them out. Sometimes some applications or some websites work better with some browsers than others. So be sure to have multiple on your computer just so you can see different websites from different points of view. Not hard at all. Always good to have. The next thing that we wanted to bring up, though, by the way, if you're listening to this in the future, in the far distant future, and you're saying, "Oh, wait, you guys really didn't, cover this part of browsers, or you didn't specify enough on this, or maybe you want more detail on something else," feel free to send us an email live@computeramerica.com, and we will get those emails, and we'll be sure to go back and visit whatever topic you felt we didn't cover. So and that goes for any one of our DIY segments in this month.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good.
So the next thing I wanted to bring up was homepages, and homepages are kind of a stickler for some people. Some people, they love their web portals. They've been using them since 1994, and they just will not get rid of their Yahoo web portal. And that's all you. Sometimes your homepage gets changed because you clicked next too many times on a program, and your homepage was changed automatically to MSN News or what have you.
By the way, that's an interesting point because some websites will hijack your homepage and and change it without your permission. Most of them will come up and say, "Hey, would you like to make a CNN your homepage?" It'll ask you, and then you go, "Yeah, I think that have CNN as my homepage." So when I launch my browser, it's the first thing that I see, and which is fine. But it asks you, but there are some devious websites out there that will try to hijack your homepage and change it to their page. So all of a sudden you open it and now you're at at scroodles.com, wherever it might be,
Yeah.
and what do I want that as my homepage? Well, they change it for you, so you need to be aware.
They hijack it, and it's very easy to change, but some people, they avoid it or they don't pay attention, or maybe even they don't know how to. And nowadays, before a homepage was your homepage, it was the first thing you saw, but homepage technology has come a long, long way. Nowadays, I'm not sure if Mozilla has it, but Chrome definitely has it, where you'll actually get a hub of sorts when you open up your browser and you don't have a specified homepage. It'll give you your 8 most recent or your 10 most recent web pages that you visited, or perhaps your most visited websites. It'll give you them in a grid pattern, and it'll give you a search bar, and you can choose from any one of those, and essentially you have all those homepages available to you just by opening up your browser. Very, very clean, very easy to use, and it doesn't automatically start loading web pages left and right. Because that's one of the things I hate personally. That's why I had Google.com as my homepage, and a lot of people still do, is that on Google.com, there's not a lot of things to load. It's just the image, the search bar, and you're done. So try to pick a homepage with not a lot of things to load.
Now,
whatever floats your boat.
Now, the way Firefox does it is that you actually go under the Firefox and select Preferences. And under the general selection, it says Startup, and basically it will say when Firefox starts, and then you can choose Show My Home Page, Show a Blank Page, or Show My Windows and Tabs from Last Time. You can do that as well. I have mine set to Show My Home Page, and the home page, you'll see a URL there, and you can type in the home page. I have computeramerica.com. There are the buttons there that says use the current page that you're on, and it'll just plug in the URL for you. If you want to use a bookmark that you have, you can use that, or you can restore it to the default. When you first start, it'll take you to Mozilla Firefox as the default page. By the way, under the startup also there's a checkbox that says always check to see if Firefox is the default browser on startup. I would strongly recommend that you uncheck that, because that can
that is so annoying when those pop-ups come up every time. It's like, would you like to make this your default browser?
Yeah.
I would have done it already if I wanted it that way. Quit asking.
Yeah, and Firefox offers you a way to make it stop doing that. So that's under the general, it's under the startup page. But that's how Firefox does it. As I mentioned, Chrome does it differently, the way that Ben described it. But this all has to do with your startup page.
And also in some browsers you can also set it to actually open up multiple home pages. So if you go to multiple websites, you can actually open up maybe 4 or 5 different tabs, each one having a web page already selected, and it'll open up multiple home pages.
Yes, that's one of the things I like about Chrome, that allow you to do that. And Safari does the same thing too. You can do that.
Very, very efficient if you are for sure going to maybe your email account, maybe your news site, maybe your bank account, maybe just wherever those 3 to 4 sites you go to every time, you just have it load up right away.
And related to that also is that if you're, for whatever reason, if your browser crashes or something, and you have like 4 or 5 tabs open, you have a setting there, it'll actually go back and it'll say, oops, we had a crash. And when it starts up, it'll actually reload the last tabs that you had open, which is an enormous time saver.
Right.
And it'll actually put those tabs back just as it had before the crash, which is a really nice feature. I know that Firefox has that as well.
Yep, Chrome has that as well. It's crash saves is very common, very, very useful. But the whole thing about the homepage, you will find those in your settings, and your settings. Just want to go over those real quick. That is where you find everything that you ever need to change about your browser on a more basic level. If you wanted to import or save your bookmarks, you go to your settings. If you wanted to maybe take your email account off, because personally I use Chrome, so everything is ran through my email address. You can disconnect it through your settings. I mean, your settings are, it's worth it to poke around and find some of the more relevant settings in there to 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 just fiddle with. Because let's say you're a big Chrome user, but you don't like using Google search for whatever reason. Maybe you enjoy using Bing search, although I think that will crash Google. You like to use Yahoo, Bing, AOL search, what have you. Things like that, you can go into the settings and change, and then that way it's just like that the entire time.
Yeah.
So
on Firefox, it's called Preferences, but they have a general, which one I mentioned before. They have tabs. One of the ones, basically open new windows and a new tab instead of different options. There's a search criteria. You can choose your default search engine, which is what Ben was talking about. Firefox uses it in its location bar. I have mine changed. Actually, for some reason, it was switched to Yahoo, so I'm going to change it back to Google. Yeah, and then
like we can kind of say, oh, just look through them, but your settings are generally your first thing to get changed when you download or when you get any kind of malware or things like that. It's usually your settings that are changed. It's not like a rogue program or something that's running in the background. They actually change your settings, so you need to go back there and restore them to what they were before.
And then some of the other things under the preferences and the settings is content. You can one of the options is you can block up pop-up windows, but if you want exception to that, you can do that too. You can set your default font, to be whatever it is, the size of the font, if you want. These are all different things that you can do in the settings page. You also have applications that you can that it recognizes and what to do with each app.
We were talking about those kind of things with apps and plugins and that kind of thing.
You have privacy settings is there, very important. Tell sites that I do not want to be tracked, or tell sites that I want to be tracked, or don't tell them anything about that. Also, your history. What you wanted to do with history. Do you want your browser to remember where every website that you want, or you don't want it to do that?
Now, the history kind of leads us into a couple of different things I want to talk about with browsers, and the first one I want to talk about is incognito mode, or private browsing. I believe Mozilla is. Those kind of things. And they have a very strong connotation with a certain activity we'll not talk about on the air, but you can also use them for everyone should know how to launch them, and everyone should know when to use them. And one of my best examples of when to use them is whenever you want a site to not put cookies on your browser, because it will kind of open up a different instance of your browser, and then it will take all the cookies, and then it will remove them from your computer as soon as you close the browser. And where this comes in handy is one of the best examples I can think of right now is airline tickets, where they will actually put a cookie on your browser saying, hey, this person checked out airline tickets on this date at this time, and if you come back within 24 hours, they'll read those cookies and they'll say, hey, this person just checked it out 24 hours ago, they're still interested, jack up the prices a couple dollars, and they'll actually change their search results based on just the fact that they have cookies on your browser. So for certain activities, shopping for airline tickets, or maybe you're planning something for Valentine's Day coming up soon, and you don't want your significant other to see what you're looking, so you keep it a surprise, open up a private browsing tab, and as soon as you finish your plans and you close it up, there's nothing in your history, there's nothing in the search bars, there's nothing anywhere, and your secret is safe.
Yep.
So, incognito mode, there are you can personally, I think it's for the hotkey that I use is Control Shift P or something like that, or Control Shift N. That's it. And we'll go into hotkeys in a second, but you can just Google incognito mode, private browsing, what have you, for whatever browser you are using, and it's definitely something you want in your toolkit.
You on Firefox, it's under the privacy, under the preferences. It's under the privacy tab, which allows you to do that. You can also clear your recent history. You can also remove individual cookies if you want to, but you got to be careful about that because let's turn off all the cookies. You know, cookies have a real legitimate function in browsing. Okay, for example, cookies can remember important things like when you go back to a website that you've been on before. If you've clicked on links in that, you can see which links you've clicked on will change color, so you'll know. Oh, I don't want to go back to that. Or what was the link that I went to on that website?
Your cookies are what changes a clicked link from blue to purple. So if you clear your cookies, you don't know where you've been, and that kind of thing.
Right, that's one of the things. Cookies also will remember other things about you too that you might want the website to know about you. You know, like for example, when you log in, it'll remember, for example, your name. Maybe not your password, but it'll remember your email address, and it'll push your email address in there from the cookie. It'll remember that. So there are a lot of useful things that cookies will do, and so you can remove individual cookies from sites that you don't want it to remember. So you can actually customize that in the privacy tab on the Firefox or any of the browsers too. So you might want to get rid of all your cookies because then that also be another giant headache for you.
Yep, and one of the things that leads us to is autofill forms, and this is built into pretty much any modern browser where if you input any kind of information in a relevant search box, it will remember it, and if you have cookies still saved on your computer, it will actually recall what you've put in. So shipping information is one of the easiest, where if you've put your address in a shipping line before, let's say you were ordering a pizza from yada yada, and you put in your address in the address field, and then you go to Amazon or wherever, and then it asks for your address, and that form automatically fills out with your address because you've put it in your browser before, and your browser says, okay, this was an address field, and this is an address field, and we know that they put this kind of information in it, and it will automatically autofill, to save you time, and it will save you a lot of time if you give it enough information.
Right. It'll put in, if you want it to remember your name, your first name, your last name. So when it asks, when you go to
email address, phone number, all that kind of
thing. Again, with your permission, it will allow you to do that. Or you can turn it off, and then you have to. Now, this is all part of the browsers. There are autoform generators like RoboForm that you can purchase that will do this. Will do it even more elaborately. But if you're just using the browser itself, it's nice to have the autofill forms turned on. It's going to save you a lot of time and grief. But
of course, it's just one more way that your information can be compromised, though.
Well, yeah, like anything else, you have to find the right balance.
Yeah. We wouldn't recommend that you autofill your credit card information or things like that.
Well, most websites won't allow you to do that. I mean,
some do, but some do.
Yeah, but most don't. Or what they require you to do is that when you get to that page, you click in the field where you're gonna, and then a number, then it will come up, and then you can select it from maybe a list of one or two different ones, and then put it in that way. So it allows you to be more selective. Your browser will allow you to do that as well if you have the autofill turned on.
Yeah. So it's definitely save you a lot of time, and you can and you can even go into your settings and take out certain addresses that were maybe put in at one time. I know I personally sent something to someone in Scotland, and now every time I fill out my address, it's like, are you in Florida or Scotland? I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, that's definitely something you want to check out. And then the last thing, or not last thing, but one of the last things we want to talk about right now is hotkeys. And I'm actually going to look up, because I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but hotkeys are not just for your browser. Hotkeys are for your computer in general. They're keyboard shortcuts that let you do certain things by just pressing 2 or 3 keys in tandem.
And to see examples of that, if you go up to your pull-down menus like File, Edit, for example, if you go to File for the first one, you'll see under Firefox New Tab, you'll see to the right of that is the corresponding hotkey. A new tab is a Command T. A new window is a Command N. A new private window is a Shift Command P. An open location, Command L. So you can see or close a window, a Command W, or open a file, a Command O. All the hotkeys or the corresponding to the ones that are pull down menu are there, and for that reason, so you can see it, and then next time you don't have to go to the pull down menu, you just type the hotkey and it will perform that function, which is very nice.
And there are a few that everyone should know. I mean, Control N is just new tab, that kind of thing. I'm sorry, new window. Control T, new tab. They're pretty standard across most browsers, and they save you so much time from having to. If you get good enough at them, I mean, you're controlling your browser through your keyboard instead of just your mouse. Because if it's just your mouse, there's a lot of drag your mouse all the way over here, all the way over there. It's a very slow experience compared to someone who is. I think that keyboard shortcuts and hotkeys are what separate just your average user from a power user of any kind of program.
Yeah,
so,
because your hand is over the keyboard, now you don't have to take your hand and move it away from the keyboard to the mouse. You can just leave it on the keyboard and use a hotkey to do the same function, which is a really nice thing to do. And that's that's sort of what defines a power user from someone who's still using the mouse. Not to say that if you're using the mouse like you can't be a power user. Don't get us wrong. I'm just saying that you're more inclined to use a keyboard command if your hand is already there, rather than to pull your hand away to go to the mouse to do something.
Yep. And by the way, hotkeys and keyboard shortcuts, you should learn them for everything. Like Control P is pretty standard for Control Print. So if you're in Microsoft Word or if you're in any browser, Control P is always going to be Control Print. It works in programs. It works in just in general. Control N is a new document, a new window, a new anything. Very intuitive. Most of the keyboard shortcuts involve Control, the CTRL found on your keyboard, and then one of the other keys. So N, P, what have you, and it saves you a lot of time. And then you can even let's say you have 8 different tabs set up. And let's say you're on tab number 4. If you hit Control 1, you automatically go to the first tab in your screen. Control 3, go to the third tab, that kind of thing. It's just ways to navigate around your browser without having to manually do them with the mouse.
And also, depending upon the computer you're using, for example, on the Mac, if you go to your system preferences, they have it's called Keyboard. You click on the keyboard, and they have something called Keyboard Shortcuts. And you can see all the hotkeys that are defined, and then you can check off or change or modify any of the hotkeys to do different functions. As mentioned, printing screen or going to the printer directly. These commands, these hotkeys usually work throughout the operating system, independently of the particular application that you're in. You have accessibility controls, application shortcuts. These are all additional hotkeys that you can turn on and turn off, at least in the Macintosh under the system preferences. And under Windows, there's something comparable to that as well.
Yep, and there are some pretty ubiquitous ones that you should know about. Alt F4 force closes. So if for some reason it's not closing your tab, that happens on some websites where they don't want you to leave or something like that. Alt F4 force closes, force quits. We've been over Control N, Control T, Control Shift T, that kind of thing. But I think if you're a computer user, not just a browser user, one of your most useful of all is going to be Control Shift Delete, or I think for Mac it's like Control Shift Apple or something like that.
To do what?
To bring up the task manager.
Oh, okay, right. And if you want to close out different tasks or close out different applications, with the beauty of modern operating systems, that if a particular application hangs or something, it doesn't bring down your entire operating system. On the Mac, for example, you can go into the Apple, and there's an option called Force Quit, and you can see the command also to do that. And then Force Quit will give you a listing of all the applications that are running at the moment. You can highlight the one that you want to force quit, and then it'll give you confirmation, and that application will just stop running and then continue on. So you can do that from the Mac OS 10, and of course there's ways of doing it from Windows.
Yeah, for Windows, that's one of the biggest things that happens to people who maybe they aren't as experienced with using a computer. If you find a way to open up the task manager, and again, one of the easiest shortcuts is Control-Alt-Delete for Windows, you can actually see your programs, and it will say responding or not responding. Right. And if it's not responding, you close it, you quit it, and you know, okay, it's not just frozen. It actually needs to be, the process needs to be ended completely. Right. And that saves you from having to call your nephew over and have him do it for you.
Exactly.
Very easy.
Same thing on the Mac too. It'll say not responding on the particular application. It'll actually get grayed out, and you can click that one and then force quit it as well, and then restart the application. It doesn't happen as frequently, but you know it is. It's not like the old way where the entire operating system come crashing down. That rarely happens today with today's modern operating systems.
Thanks to sandboxing.
Yes, exactly. And protected memory.
Protected memory.
Exactly. Well, I think we're pretty much done here on our first DIY segment here.
And I'll be honest, that felt a little rushed in certain areas. So, like we said earlier, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, what have you, feel free to email us and we'll go over them in more detail. But if you have anyone who maybe is not that experienced with using a browser, if you have them listen to that hour, they'll be a pretty good start on how to use a browser.
Exactly, and just keep it as reference, and we'll go from there. All right. Well, again, I want to thank EZRobot for being on the show today. It was a lot of fun with DJ Shures, and thanks again for being there. Tomorrow, we're going to have a company called Grovo, Grovo, Grovo. And they basically, we're going to have the company's CEO, Jeff Fernandez, is going to be on the program with us tomorrow. Now, Grovo actually is a website that it's a daily learning platform, okay, that lets you to learn digital skills you need to perform better at work. They're going to be on the first hour, and then in hour two, we're going to have computer and technology news or some more DIY segment that'll be brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are, of course, the official optimization software of Computer America. Well, again, it was our 24th year. We begin our 24th year
60
on
seconds.
The air here at Computer America. And there you go. Okay, and thank you so much for being here with us tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Yep.
What are we going to do tomorrow night, Ben?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Well, you just mentioned we're gonna have that company on, and you mean the second hour?
Yeah.
I'm thinking something along the lines of secure browsing.
Secure browsing. Okay.
So how to keep yourself anonymous, protect your data. It's been in the news a lot. We're gonna go how to do it.
And talk about VPNs and all that stuff.
We're gonna talk about VPNs, DuckDuckGo, what have you. Ways to keep yourself safe.
So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
All right. Again, thanks everybody for watching on our live computer video streaming page, and hopefully you enjoyed the robots. I had a lot of time, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.